Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we'll be talking about a potential very large and dangerous storm system, winter storm system that will be occurring across the United States this upcoming week. Now, obviously, we just got done with a pretty incredible severe weather outbreak on Friday across the South. We are still dealing with that right now. There's a second wave right now. It's ongoing as I speak. There's a moderate. It's very small, but I'm sure you guys know what's happened in Mississippi. And it's just a stark reminder of the fact how powerful Mother Nature is, and how everything we have is, that we take for granted, is very fragile, and we need to obviously stay active in terms of being aware, because we are reaching peak severe weather season, and it's really, it could occur at any time of the year. That's the things. With this one, there was the National Weather Service and Storm Prediction Center did a very good job with it. But sometimes all it takes is a slight risk of severe weather. You get one tornado goes through a populated area, and there you go. You have an incredible event. So, and yes, with this upcoming storm system, not this one ongoing right now, but the one on Thursday and Friday, I'm more concerned than I'm just very concerned. Let's just put it that way. So, let's start off by looking at the weather models, right? So the GFS, the Global Forecasting System, this is a very good model. I use it along with the European for my long-range forecasting. And obviously for severe weather, they're a little, too broad-based, but they give us a good indication of what may be coming. And in this case, they do exactly that. So right now we are dealing with a very volatile kind of pattern, volatile time period, if you will. We are dealing with extreme warmth starting to come in from the south. Obviously, we already are past the spring equinox occurred on 21st, I believe. And temperatures are drastically warming now, catching up, and we obviously still have cold towards the north. And usually when you have cold meeting with the warmth, it usually spells some sort of big storms, and that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to have a parade of large systems. Good news is, for the next few days, Tuesday, Wednesday, there are going to be some minor events, right? Do note that the Storm Prediction Center does have a slight risk of severe weather across the south, and a general marginal for many, many cities tomorrow. Again, nothing really too bad, but again, it could occur even in those conditions, a tornado or some hail and whatnot. But the bigger event is off the coast on Wednesday, and it comes in onshore Wednesday, and this is where things start really, I guess, ramping up. So notice initially it's not really much. It's a pretty weak system. However, the conditions for this are going to be marvelous. Notice we have a high pressure that is steering very warm air in, this low pressure counteracting that, steering equally as warm air in from the southwest, and they're converging, so you can see these winds really strengthen, and what we start seeing is a classic spring storm system. Warm air screaming all the way into southern Canada, and along this area here into the day on Friday and into Saturday, we have a potential explosive severe weather event. Obviously, I want to note there could be very, very heavy snow on the north side of this. Just a few days ago here across northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin, we had a little system, right? The day before was pretty beautiful. It was 40 degrees sunny, and in the night some areas got up to 20 inches of snow. That's the thing with these events. If it's cold enough, it doesn't matter if the surface temperature is 35. Some of the snowfall rates are being reported, and usually get reported in these type of events when we have that extreme precipitation, almost basically some thunderstorm precipitation rates converted into snow. We see snowfall rates approaching 3 inches of snow per hour, which is almost hard to think of and imagine, but that's the case. So obviously the snow's going to be concerning, especially since it's wet and heavy. There's going to be damage, but also the severe weather. And again, especially everyone's on their toes now across the U.S. after given what happened in Mississippi. Again, it's too early to tell where exactly and how, but do note that this system's big as it approaches into Saturday and Sunday, affecting the Northeast, on the weekend, and finally moving out. And then the week, preceding Easter is going to be, according to the GFS, also pretty volatile. But, if you like the warmth, it will be warm for a good portion of the United States. But that's also bad because, well, that gives a lot of these storms that could develop a lot more strength. And you can see that's exactly what happens. This one barreling tons of snow into the northern plains, along with another severe weather threat, on Great Friday or Good Friday, and into Saturday and Sunday and Easter. So that's going to be also something to watch for. And the GFS at this point, this is very far out, so I wouldn't usually be talking about this, but look, we have a potentially very, very warm pattern, which introduces even more storms and, again, snow. So just to give you a quick glance, the next 15 days in terms of total snowfall, yeah, there will be plenty of chances for snow, and that's going to be pretty incredible. But obviously, the severe weather is probably more concerning and dangerous. Though, again, assuming something like this, if this were to happen, that would also be very concerning. So let's go on Thursday. That's the first day where this could start popping off. And look, that's a large area for 5 days out. Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, large cities, Dallas, Fort Worth, Oklahoma City. That's alone a population of 13 million. But then take a look at this. Day 6. Look how massive that area is. That is almost 30 million people in the slight. Again, this is an area that, I mean, it's just massive in scale. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be an enhanced. I definitely will be probably a moderate as well. And that is something we'll have to keep an eye on for. And yeah, with the next system into next week, following this one into the Great Week or the Holy Week, there will also be a lot of activity. So a lot of things to keep track of. I just showed you the GFS. Let me show you the European. I believe this one does have a better handle of it. It's done a pretty good job, and right here on his website, it could show us a little bit better in terms of those just. Basically, because what I showed you on the GFS was the precipitation rate. If I were to show you actually this, or sorry, the MSLP and precip, if I were to actually show you the radar rain/frozen, you maybe have a better idea of how explosive this thing will be. So again, we're watching for Thursday and Friday, and you can see all these storms. Look how big and large this is. That's what makes this thing a little concerning, to say the least. So very powerful. European does very similar thing. Notice, so again, it moves in on the shore into California. More heavy snow for you guys across the west, in the mountains. An incredible year for the Southwest, especially given the fact it's a La Nina. You just sometimes have those years where it just completely bucks the trend, and that's good. Obviously, potentially next year it could be an El Nino. Hopefully, another wet year for the Southwest. Maybe not as wet, right? You don't want legendary flooding, but those reservoirs need it. All right, now moving forward, as this system starts to again kind of incorporate a lot of this warm air from the Gulf of Mexico into Good Friday. This thing could, again, the first day really is Thursday across potentially Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas. But you can see this thing quickly explodes, and we see just these storm cells and clusters racing across the country here. Again, warm conditions, so there will be thunderstorms as far north as Michigan, Wisconsin. They probably won't be severe way up there. They could still be strong, but anywhere south of really Illinois, Iowa, or in Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, southwards, those storms can be and probably will be nasty. Again, it's still a little bit far out, but notice they're going to be moisture laden, and you can see it skedaddles out of there pretty quickly, this storm, but not before potentially delivering quite a blow in terms of that severe weather. Again, most likely peaking Friday into Saturday, but across the Northeast there could also be some storms and some rain. So that's the European, and by the way, in the longer range, it also shows not as warm of a pattern. You notice it has a high pressure that tries to work in here, but it sets up a very strong baroclinic zone and a potential monster system that tries developing right there. Again, kind of far out, but the GFS is also showing a system a little bit differently, but this could obviously have pretty large consequences in terms of snow and more severe weather, as the area here will be very warm. So in terms of total snowfall, let me just show you that from this upcoming first one. Let's not focus on any other ones because this one alone is already a lot to handle. Notice that the European doesn't show as much precipitation, or sorry, snowfall with the first one as the GFS does. Shows a lot across the West, but across the Midwest, it's tolerable. However, again, that's still obviously a risk. Roads will be clogged and whatnot. It does show a lot more for southeastern Canada compared to the Midwest here, though. So that's something to watch for. And with that second one, if it were to occur, you could see it quickly builds up a lot of snow here. So yeah, this could be a pretty legendary snow I guess pattern for the West. In terms of total accumulated precipitation, I know that a lot of areas do have a lot of water, so some people are probably concerned about that. I want to show you that. Again, for the next few days, really just the south and the west getting hammered by rain, eventually spilling into the Midwest, and you can see with those several systems combined. And given the fact that there could be severe storms, each one of them potentially leading to a deluge, because, storms, you may sometimes just focus on the hail and tornadic parts of them, but usually if they go over an area several times over a short period of time, like we had in the past pattern, we start seeing rivers rising and all these flood watches. And again, it's hard to predict exactly where a storm will go, but sometimes you could get 3-4 inches in one area and then nothing in another, so it's hard to predict. Definitely something you have to watch for, especially since a lot of these areas are already absolutely saturated in terms of water. So that is a GFS. That's a European. Again, I showed you what the storm Storm Prediction Center shows. Definitely concerning. It's still far out, obviously, but that's good. It gives you time to prepare. And not to mention, we're currently dealing with a moderate risk as I'm making this video. So it just goes to show you how bonkers things are. And again, you know, Monday is also another day we'll have to watch for. And this, you know, we're focusing on the large events here, but let's not get distracted. Storms that could cause damage could occur even outside of the slight risk area and whatnot, especially in a storm that that's so far away still. We don't know exactly where the worst of it is going to occur yet. Right now we're thinking again Missouri, Illinois, eastern Illinois, western Illinois, southern Iowa, western central Kansas, central Oklahoma, Texas, there, Arkansas. And you can see the GFS does a pretty good job of showing this. Again, the GFS shows a little bit more snow with the system, but my goodness, some of those storms will be extreme as they pass through that absolutely saturated area of moisture. I'll show you some of the MSLP, or sorry, some of the precipitation water tables, and just to show you how much moisture will be in the atmosphere. And you can see it's going to be pretty loaded. If you look at the past event, there obviously was a lot of precipitation as well, but a lot of atmospheric water. It just wasn't as widespread and broad, but it was pretty intense. And with this upcoming one, it's a much larger scale storm, and you can see it's many states and whole regions covered in that. And if you look at another key one that you could actually see probably a bit better and visualize is this thing, which compares it to normal, and you can see there could be some pretty high water content with this. So storms that do occur will have no problem producing very heavy rain. And if you were to take a look at the temperatures, this is something I really wanted to show you. Some of these anomalies on the south, where the storm will be occurring, are really going to be incredible. There's also going to be very cold air on the north, and you can see with this upcoming, look at that. That is, those are some very warm temperatures, probably some of the warmest temperatures of the year for many folks. And if you look at the 2-meter temperature Fahrenheit, 60s, 70s as far north as Iowa, and just north across, within a few tenths of a mile, maybe 100 miles, it's heavy snow. So the contrasts are pretty extreme. And again, you can see the GFS with each passing storm kind of continues this really warm air and keeps it pretty far towards the north. So that's the thing. It's going to be the battle of the air masses, and some of these anomalies on both sides really quite impressive. And then you can see the GFS into after kind of Easter or around Easter. It shows a general more warming pattern. You can see the cold air kind of starts getting washed away. That's far out, but I know some folks do like are curious about that type of stuff. So European shows a similar pattern with each storm bringing bursts of warmth, but it's not so bullish with the warmth as the GFS is. Notice that some of the temperatures it shows the GFS as April 11th here at 1 p.m. Those are some very warm temperatures, and of course that's concerning. If any storm were to develop, that could produce some pretty nasty and violent weather. European, in terms of its, let's look at the 12Z1 in terms of its 2-meter temperature anomaly. You can see again, definitely showing that cold air currently for this upcoming week, but out of that system, things are going to be warming up drastically, especially for the south and south kind of east. Look at the east coast. There's some almost off the charts warmth this upcoming Saturday, 70s, mid 70s as far as upstate New York. So that is definitely something that is, I guess, could be nice, but also a danger sign. And looking at the most recent European model run, this is the one that came out just a few hours ago. It only goes out to 90 hours. Comes out at 6 o'clock, and do note that it again doesn't show much activity for the first part of the week, but as you start getting towards Wednesday and Thursday, it shows that system moving in off the west coast. There's that cold air, there's that warm air, there's a high pressure pumping in at warm air. It stops at 90 hours, so it doesn't go much further out than that. But as we saw with the operational European model run, we see what comes afterwards, or at least what the European things will come after. What will come afterwards. We could look also at the Canadian model. This is a good one. I like this model a lot as well. And do note that it also shows a very powerful system Friday and Saturday, albeit a bit differently. You can see it seems to be more compressed, dealing with a lot more cold air from the north. So again, that could speed it up, but also produce a bit more snow. And again, severe weather is still a very good possibility with that system, according to the Canadian. Pretty much all models show that the atmosphere supports that. And do note, again, just like the other models, it keeps the pattern active with more storms following that. So we'll have to wait and see. For now, stay tuned to the local National Weather Service. I'll be uploading more videos on this channel. And obviously, keep your eyes to the sky. As we saw, Mother Nature is dangerous and brutal. And there are few things that can hide from it. And yeah, so I'll catch you all guys in the next episode, and I'll see you next time. Later.